Look at this. I got headphones on. I got a mic going. Baby.
If
Huh?
only people could see you now.
Hey, no video. We've gone through this before.
All right,
No
all right,
video.
all right. Welcome to This Commerce Life. This is a podcast aimed at small, medium entrepreneurs focused on commerce. I'm Phil, your host, and Kenny, your co-host, will join us as well. And we're going to talk to you about the world of retail and commerce and how things are changing in the world.
Shit, anyway. Yeah, I got it.
Hey, Stu.
That lady telling me this recording drives me crazy too.
How are you guys?
We're well, and you?
Well, one of us is having technical problems.
Uh-oh.
It's not Phil, because it's never Phil. Phil
that's
always
not-
has the
that's
technical side
that's
figured out.
not
It's
true.
always
That's
good
not
on
true.
Phil's
Like,
world.
There were a bunch of episodes,
Yeah,
right? That I was
whatever.
like, oh my god, what's happening? But yeah.
For me, it's most episodes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to shut down as much as I can.
Move this so it's out of the shot.
Oh,
I've been
that's
rearranging
okay.
some stuff in the office, so this will be cleaner. I think
Yeah, no worries.
you can see the top of our white like photo, like curved photo wall.
Oh, that's cool.
You see a little bit of where the magic happens.
Yeah. No. It's honestly, it's okay. Like the podcast is audio for the most part.
Okay.
We'll put a handful of clips on Insta, like Instagram Reels and things like that. But after that, we're good. So we don't really have faces made for like.
No.
I have a face made for radio. So
Yeah, that's exactly us.
Yeah, we have a face made for novels.
Yeah.
So you're even better than that.
We attempted to put ourselves on YouTube. I attempted to put us on YouTube. Kenny
Big mistake.
protested.
I told him.
And,
Why? Who wants to look at
That's
us?
the same thing. It was a mistake. So
I told him. I said, people barely want to listen to us. Who the hell wants to look at us? Come on.
Oh man.
Okay, so if I get choppy, I'm just going to shut the video off because I don't know why it's doing it tonight. But anyway, I'm supposed to have this
Awesome.
lightning speed of internet, right? Yeah, like I always have.
We have Stuart Anderson. Should I call you Stu or Stuart?
I think most people in business know me actually as Stu. Like I present myself as Stu for our business.
Okay.
You can call me Stu. I mean,
Okay.
honestly, either one. I've been going by both basically my entire life.
And you've answered to worse, right? So really,
Way worse.
exactly. So it's all
Way
good.
worse.
So we've got Stu Anderson on. He's the founder of Beast and Buckle, which is pretty cool. I met Stu through the Clear Coat guys.
Yeah.
He and I have had some great chats, and I love the product. Like it's like some really fantastic stuff. So we're really glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. We're excited. We're kind of an unscripted show. So like what we'll do is, now that I've done the very, very formal intro, I guess what we'd love to do is really get a sense of like where you come from, how you got to where you are now, and then we can jump into the Beast and Buckle stuff for sure.
Absolutely. So you want me to just kind of go through my kind of
Yeah.
like what I'm doing professionally?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my background's marketing. I come from the performance marketing world. I was the chief marketing officer of a prominent Facebook ads agency until leaving in 2018. I helped them grow to about 50 people. Sold my stake in 2018. And then, but I've been working in e-commerce on the performance marketing side for a long time. But I'd never run my own brand. And then at the end of 2018, launched Beast and Buckle. And we publicly launched in early 2019. So it's been a little over 2.5 years. And it's been a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And it's kind of like it's not just like a kind of manifestation of my desire to have my own brand. It's kind of like, I would say connected to a lot of what I grew up with because I grew up around dogs. My family, we always had at least 2 or 3 dogs because we used to breed and train Labrador retrievers. So I grew up loving dogs, always being around dogs. And when I got a dog in 2017, it really kind of changed my life. It was the first time I'd had a dog in my adult life because I'd been in the military and then my jobs had taken me various places of the country. I was not necessarily in a stable, staying in one place kind of phase of my life. But once I got my first dog as an adult, and it's definitely, I mean, it's, as anybody who's ever gotten a dog will tell you, it's a life-changing experience.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. This poor podcast has listened to me, because I've got Sophie. She's a miniature poodle cross, and she's about 2 years old now. So we picked her up we adopted her just before all of this pandemic craziness happened. But yeah, it's been a fun ride.
So my internet was choppy, so I ran downstairs. So now we're just basically on microphone on
okay, but
laptop. So I might have missed something. So
Kenny, wait, turn yourself down. Turn down the volume. You almost
killed
us there.
oh,
I can turn you down in the recordings, but yeah, you almost blew my ears out. I
Sorry,
don't know
buddy.
if that's too bad. It's all good. It's all good.
I didn't want to say anything, but
well, you should. The only thing is I can't adjust it.
No, you're good. That's
Is
good.
it okay now?
Sounds way better.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Okay.
way better. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So one
ask
thing
your
I was going to
question.
ask. So
Yeah.
I get the dog ownership, pet ownership. I get that that's exciting and makes you want to be a great dog lover. Just so we're very clear, most people who do that, logical step might be another dog, another 2 dogs, dog parks, dog friends. Not everybody starts a company with a brand.
An Instagram account, something.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to do the connection. So what you said is all good in the hood until you went from it to you. It was funny because I'm listening to it. So you're telling me in the last 4 years, the logical step after getting the first dog as an adult, hey.
Yeah, so I think for me, it was like, I did know that I wanted to start my own brand, and like obviously doing something in the dog space, I think made the most sense for me because it's something that I know a lot. My experience doing marketing for tons of brands has shown me kind of like the strength of the pet industry.
Right.
I mean, if you hear about any of the people who have kind of made massive successes out of themselves, people who are, billionaires, 100 millionaires, one of the recurring things that I always hear is, do something that you're deeply passionate about, because that's where you have the greatest chances of success. And I'm very, very passionate about dogs. Even during the time where I was, I didn't have my own dog. I mean, whenever I was with a friend who had a dog, I would spend more time with their dog than I did with them. So for me, that was kind of like the natural progression. I think, specifically why I did this type of product rather than doing something, in another area of the pet space is, my sister had gotten a dog as well. We'd both gotten dogs after our father passed away tragically in 2016. So she actually got one first, and she's like me. She's, dog obsessed. She would buy everything for her dog. Spend all kinds of money. She wanted everything. All sorts of bowls, treats, harnesses, collars, leashes, everything. And I remember like kind of looking through she had them in this kind of like nice little like bin, like the kind of thing you'd find on Etsy. She had this bin of harnesses for her little dog. And I remember looking through, I was like, oh, these are kind of cool. And, obviously I knew about harnesses, but like, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. There's designs and stuff. And my sister, who's very fashion forward, who again, will buy anything for her dog, spend any kind of money on stuff for her dog. She was like, yeah, like it's fun, but like, there's nothing that really, I'd say like really wows me. And I think that was the moment where I knew that this is something I wanted to do, or at least look into doing.
Right.
Because if my sister couldn't find something that wowed her, there's got to be other people that feel the same way. And so the more I asked her about it, the more she kind of told me that like there really was something missing in the market. It was like all these companies, they create designs where they're not like, in her opinion, like, again, things that really kind of catch her eye. The companies don't do a good enough job of kind of like, I would say like building brand and giving back, which is obviously a big thing that we do at Beast and Buckle. And so I was like, okay, I need to look into this, see kind of like obviously what the manufacturing for this looks like, what the market for it looks like, and then develop a strategy. And, once I did a little bit of research, I realized there really was a really good chance to make an impact, even in a market that did have a lot of people making products in it. There's certainly both companies big and small doing lots of different harnesses, lots of different collars, lots of different leashes. Fortunately, even though I have lots of experience in e-commerce, everything I think involves a good deal of luck. And we've been fortunate enough to have a nice growing business. It's been a wild ride over the last few years.
I bet. So, because my internet sucked. Prior to this, what did you do?
I was the chief marketing officer of a Facebook ads agency, a company called Mute 6, and I left them in 2018. They were bought in 2019 by
Right.
Aegis.
But had you ever worked in consumer packaged goods or anything like buying and selling?
Just around it, right?
Retail.
He did some advertising, e-commerce type stuff.
Right, but
yeah,
nothing in a physical good. Like you weren't in retail stores.
I've worked brand side in e-commerce. I've worked for Marketplace, a company called Stack Commerce, and then I also worked in-house as the director of growth marketing, a company called Joybird that does furniture. So they're a mid-century modern furniture company that sells almost exclusively direct to consumer. So those would be some of the more recent examples.
It's cool. The reason I'm sort of pushing it is because, again, the logical step isn't to start necessarily your own brand. You're always trying to figure out in the shows and when people come on, because what happens with when you're as the founder of your company, et cetera, you take it for granted that the steps are so linear. And I sit back, listen. Sometimes I think, not that linear, man. I mean, it's pretty cool because so you're doing advertising and you're doing stuff on Facebook. That's cool. That doesn't necessarily lend to harnesses for a pet.
It turns into like harnesses, leashes, because you've got SKUs, like amazing patterns.
I mean, seriously though, but that's
got it by brand, by dog.
Okay, that's a deviation from what you were doing. I mean, that's not
in a way. I think having a good marketing background is never something that's gonna
absolutely
be a downside when you go and start a brand. And for me, I think like a lot of what I liked about advertising, what I liked about marketing, I get to employ a lot of those things in my day to day. So really when you think about what advertising is, especially when you're doing it on the agency side, it's thinking about what people want and how they want it, and then how to best convey the story that tells them this is what you want and this is how you want it. Right. A lot of my business is that it's figuring out and being creative about like what patterns are people going to want, figuring out the best ways to market those patterns to people, and then obviously a lot of it is pure marketing. Building the brand, making sure that from a both acquisition and retention side, we're acquiring customers, retaining them, launching new products at specific intervals that we feel are best to both capitalize on demand, but also not kind of like push too many things and leave us with stale inventory. It's a lot of building a direct consumer e-commerce company. The marketing skill set really does inform quite a bit of that. Right. And, I think, fortunately for me, being an agency executive, I get to no longer be working at an agency, which is great because, I worked with amazing people at the agency that I was helping run. But agency life it's exhausting. And, right. Here I am more able to kind of like set my agenda, set my schedule, figure out the way that I want to run my day and run my brand. And so but also being an agency executive and having that kind of like more administrative and operations kind of focus, it really does lend itself well to kind of like operating an e-commerce brand because, I'm used to having to wear multiple hats, cover a lot of ground across multiple kind of categories of work. So that has actually, I think, better than I even expected. I think it's helped me a lot in doing this because this really is, from like an e-com brand standpoint, the first time I've actually launched one myself.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many. I get where Kenny's going to, right? Because there's so many things here. You've got so many SKUs. Like, how did you go about tackling the, because I think it helps that you do chase something that you love, right? Because you start to, you start in more logical places, but sourcing materials, like trying to figure out who makes like who makes bandanas I'm gonna love, who makes harnesses, like how did you, was that a tough curve for you? Like, because I feel like that. No.
Fortunately for me, a little bit of like, and I've so when I was in the military, I was a supply corps officer, so I have a strong logistics background, and
okay,
got a lot of good contacts.
Yeah, so you got a running start on this.
So I there's a little bit of help there, but also like if you've worked in e-commerce and been in a for client facing stuff, consultative role with people at a high level, which is part of my job, running an agency, you do familiarize yourself a lot with good resources, or literally just good companies, good factories, good manufacturers. You do familiarize yourself a lot with kind of where to look or where to go when you need products. And with pets, the important thing when sourcing things for pets, especially if you're having a factory actually build the entire product, you're not basically handling the material sourcing yourself and then bring it in. If you're working directly through one kind of point of contact to bring all that stuff together and handle production, the important thing, and like this is obviously a concern, but it's also a benefit in pets, is like you want to have a facility that really knows pets, because they're going to test things properly. Building a harness for a dog, or even building a harness for a small dog versus a large dog, very, very different. Knowing how to test those properly. And it's a different product than stuff for humans. It's a different product for you need somebody who really knows basically how to properly build and QA all these products. Which means generally that if you're finding the right source for your product lines, I mean it's actually it's kind of like you have a shorter distance to cover to go from kind of A to B. And so luckily we work with facilities that basically handle a lot of that stuff for us, and we're mostly focused on the pattern design, and then obviously ensuring that everything meets our standards from a quality and build standpoint. But most of the actual process of building these harnesses that we're focused on actively is designs.
Right. I guess I still find you quite fascinating in a super positive way, because I mean, Phil's done the same. I've met thousands of people who've started companies and followed passion, etc. And very few, one as calm and level-headed as you.
Thank you.
Who actually, you sound like you've been doing this for 30 years, not like 3. Yeah. Your procurement in the military, you learned supply chain, like all the shit you're talking. I shit you not. I don't know anybody that has never been in this space per se. Forget like actually running a brand, who seems to have their shit together in such a short period of time without having like 20 years of history. Like, unless you're not telling us something, most people have 30 companies behind them that are the train wreck, and then the train started going smoothly. I mean, I find you fascinating because you talk like you've been doing this for 25 years.
You actually, is
that not true, Phil, or not? It's just me.
Like if you were to with a group of buyers and just kind of like guys that, folks that have been doing this sort of thing for 20, 30 years,
guys like us who've been doing this for 40 years. I'm talking to you like you've been around forever.
It's kind of funny, actually.
I appreciate that. I can assure you that I'm far less impressive than I'm coming off. I think I'm just having a good night. I very much appreciate that. I think really it's mostly down to just like this is like many entrepreneurs will tell you, like I live, eat, breathe this every day. And I think I just heard my dog actually run by my office door. Like I basically sit with my dog and work on this from the moment I wake up until I go to sleep way too late. So like, for better or worse, it's kind of come very, very quickly to me, just because I haven't really been doing anything else over the last few years. And like, it's really just me and one other person that works on this. I have a business partner that works on this basically part-time. And so like when people usually talk to us, I think like the one thing because I try to stay like humble. I really appreciate the compliments and the praise. I try and stay as humble as possible. The one thing I do like to tell people is it's a small shop, and most people think that we're at least 5 people, 10 people. It's a 1.5 person shop, really. I'm very fortunate to have a great business partner who's very helpful, but like we literally do everything, and that's by design. It's not just about keeping a lean shop. It means that we can be more competitive on pricing because we believe, one of the key things that we believe as a business is that every family deserves access to high quality pet products. A lot of the stuff that's being pushed at very cheap prices is not good quality. It puts dogs in danger, and we want to make high quality stuff available for more people. And so if we keep a lean shop, that allows us to do that. But it also, it keeps our business clean. If somebody wants to buy us, it keeps operations simple so that if we need to be agile, if we need to be flexible, if we need to change things up dramatically, the more people you have involved in a business,
Like during a pandemic, maybe.
Like during a pandemic, or a supply chain catastrophe.
Some things
that container prices going up 4 or 5 times.
It's been. I would love to say that I've made every decision 100% correctly. I definitely haven't. We've made tons of mistakes. We continue to make mistakes. But the good thing that we have is like that one of the things we have not made mistakes on, it's because we haven't compromised on, is just sticking to our principles, sticking to our passions, making sure that we always think about like what our customers want. And that's both retail and direct consumer. And just always erring on the side of doing right by them. And that stuff, especially right now, I think a lot of people really, really appreciate that. And that's allowed us to kind of grow. Pets, it's a great business. Any pet business is great for direct or for word of mouth. Right. People love talking about their pets, and people are always asking for advice about where to get things.
Oh, and once you recommend something, if you're hooked on something as a pet owner, it's golden. I mean, you'll tell the world 20 times over.
That's our business model. It's how do we get people in who will absolutely love our brand and who will buy from us multiple times a year and who will tell all their friends about it. And we've known that that's the goal. I mean, it's the goal of any company. But what we kind of set out from the start to do is to say, okay, if that's the goal, and we're running this type of company, what are the things that people buying from us, both retail and direct consumer, what are they going to want? And then let's just do those things. And yeah, short term, sometimes the financial decisions that we have to make sometimes can not be great, but long term, it's created great growth from us. We have people that really do tell everybody they know about us. I've been blown away by some of the support we've gotten from people. And I mean, we have people we put out probably 20 to 25 designs a year. We have customers that will buy every single one.
Really?
You have customers that will buy every single one for their dogs and a couple for their friends' dogs.
I feel like a bad dog owner now.
No,
it's like 2 harnesses.
Well, you're not very good because people are buying 25 pieces and you're doing nothing.
Fuck,
Phil,
I need to get on this. Like, I think I'm just gonna have to go on your site and click on everything now.
So Phil, I will warn you that once you get one harness, they're like potato chips. You can't just have one because
that's what you need.
We had somebody actually yesterday who told us, they're like, I had to tell like my husband that I wasn't going to buy anymore. And like, I've told him that 2 or 3 times now, but you just put out this new one and I need to get it. And
they are really nice though. Like,
and like, whenever I hear that, I mean, it makes me so happy because like, I like being in the happiness business. And yes, I don't want people to,
bankrupt.
You have to, lie to their husbands or wives or spend too much money at our store. But like, it really does make me happy to hear that people like care and love our product that much. Because I love our product that much. Like I'm deeply passionate, and it's a very funny conversation to have when I talk to my friends who I served with in the military 10 years ago when they asked me what I'm doing. Because I used to be, in the Navy, making sure that ship containers and food got into the right places and things like that. preparing to be on warships. And now I make, very cutesy designs on harnesses for mostly smaller dogs.
Hilarious. Yeah.
But it's a business that always surprises me every single day, because I get different sorts of reactions. I get creative ideas from our customers. I get wonderful photos, just amazing messages from people. And if I ever doubted at all in the beginning, whether this was the right business to run, I get confirmation that I made the right decision every single day from all of our customers, because I really lucked out. We have some just amazing people that support our business.
So did you have somebody that you modeled after? Did you have somebody that sort of mentored you into and how to do this and how to do this profitably and how to think this through? Because you just, so for clear, again, maybe Phil's seen different, but from my perspective, you don't talk like
now. I'm
normal.
I'm on Stu's site shopping now.
Well, okay, we've lost Phil. Phil's going to be spending money. But did you have somebody? Because again, you came from. I don't hear anything in your past that really necessary. I get the online portion and you understand that the internet and all that, and that's fantastic. But that doesn't necessarily mean you know how to do a consumer business of product. You know what I mean? So did you have somebody who was that you modeled after, or someone who's sort of like helping you with pricing? Like, because I mean, honestly, you talk like you've been doing this for years.
I appreciate that. Again, I'm like deeply humbled by the praise. I really appreciate it. I think, again, it really goes back. If you've worked at an agency, not even at the level that I was, even if you're doing it at the campaign manager level, kind of like account executive level, if you've been selling, if you've been managing campaigns, like you do get a deep exposure to different parts of every single e-commerce business that you work with, because what happens in customer service, what happens in inventory, like anything across that entire business affects what you do. And so through the natural course of handling a client, you do expose yourselves quite a bit. And then you do expose yourself quite a bit. And so for me, where my interactions with clients, highly consultative, talking high level, connect to them with, oftentimes, partners, vendors, and other categories, like all that requires a lot of due diligence on my part, because we want to make sure that we're recommending the right partners. It involves a lot of research. It involves a lot of networking, and all of that basically lends itself into like quite a bit of learning and staying on top of things. Right. And so for me, being a successful agency executive, one of the reasons that the agency that I was at was so good when I was there and continues to be so good right now is because we focused a lot, not only on what is going to make us the best marketing agency from a pure marketing standpoint, making sure that we had the right relationships with Facebook, Google, email marketing companies, things like that. But it also meant staying on top of what's going on in the supply chain, who are the best 3PLs to use, like what vendors should these companies be using for everything from, like it could be HR software, it could be anything. And so like I learned a lot, and a lot of very current information about, what was going on across every part of different types of businesses. And so part of that is sourcing, or part of that is, just basic operations, what goes into a product-based business. And I will reiterate, we've made tons of mistakes. There are things that my lack of direct experience running a brand, has led to, things that we haven't done ideally. We are continuing to make mistakes. Yes, I think we've had some great growth. We've focused a lot of our, basically money comes in, it goes out to continue that growth. And we've still been able to be, very, profitable, especially for a business our size, but like we still continue to make mistakes. And I think that's okay. And I think, honestly, I think that's actually part of the reason why I'm so calm, is because I know that we can make mistakes. And as long as we learn from them and don't repeat them, it's actually an okay thing. I don't want to say a good thing. Mistakes are not good, but it's okay.
Well, they don't have to be brutal. A mistake, you could trip and bruise your knee. It doesn't have to break your neck, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be catastrophic all the time.
Exactly.
Can you give us a sense? So without, all the numbers and everything, but your business, so for anyone listening to this, you can go to beastandbuckle.com. There are some really cool things on sale right now, but that's not why I'm
Pay full retail once in a while. Look at Stu, he's a nice guy.
No, listen,
Don't be so
I'm
cheap,
just
always
telling
go for
you.
the sale
No,
price.
I'm not just going for the sale things. I just think some of the sale
And Stu,
things
no
are really
friends and family
Having said
discount
that-
either. You can pay full retail.
Having said that, is like
We're charging
you
Kenny an
clearly.
extra. So we're charging Phil. We're charging Phil an extra 15%.
That's what you do, baby. That's how you do it.
A reverse coupon.
So you have a great e-com business going, and then so are you mostly online, or you've got kind of retail, like bricks and mortar retail? Can you give us a sense of where you are, because you've been in business like 2.5 years, right? Is that right?
Yes, we launched publicly in February of 2019.
Yeah.
When first we started going on sale. We've done various different things in retail. I think actually some of the mistakes that we've made early were, some of the things that we did in terms of where we wanted to focus on the retail side. We went to Super Zoo actually in 2019, which was an interesting experience. Learned a ton there.
Yeah.
And obviously Super Zoo didn't happen last year. And I think we probably would have gone this year, but I think it's still too early given everything that's going on with the pandemic. The thought of being in a big enclosed area with thousands of other people probably just wasn't the right time for this year.
Well, we get you. We're
We
Canadian, so we totally get you.
We're Canadians, man. We're totally get this. Yeah, totally.
Retail for us, it's a nice portion of our business. We have customers we actually have retail customers who are online only, who want to sell, for example, we have stockists over in the UK who want to sell us into Europe, which is great. We have people who sell physical retail, a lot of small, individual,
like mom and pops.
We have, small regional chains, or we have 100+ unit chains that have, individual franchisees that can have more control over where they buy. So, especially in the Southeast where we're located, the Southeastern United States. I know you guys are thinking in Canada.
We follow.
No, we're down in Florida, wherever you're at.
Yeah.
My mistake.
All good.
It's all good.
To people connected to Clearco. So we're in South Carolina, and so we have, we work with some of the smaller chains that have locations in South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. We really like that because it accomplishes the same, on the selfish desire side of our business. It accomplishes a lot of the same stuff that we like on the direct to consumer side, which is working with people that love dogs and are love dogs. And that's a lot of the people that run these sorts of stores.
Right.
We've also, we're selling kind of online only for one of the larger pet retailers. And we actually pulled back from that because we wanted to focus more of our business around, we wanted to really do retail the right way and have more control over, the sorts of relationships that we were pursuing on the retail side, how our product is sold on the retail side. I think for me as a consumer, I've had great experiences at, some of the large pet stores, but I really love going into my local pet store.
Yeah.
One right down the street that I love going into because it's right next to my favorite diner. I love going in there because it's just you can see, similar to how I can look at our product line and see, my imprint on our product because I was involved in creating the designs and thinking about the merchandising strategy. You can see the how that store owner or that store manager laid out that store based on their vision. And I don't know, there's just something about that really speaks to me.
That's cool.
And then the feeling and the it's almost like a rush of combining that, where I get to walk in and see somebody else's passion, and then I see my product in there. I mean, it's amazing. There's a local Charleston area chain called Doolittle's, and they have 4 or 5 locations. Their owner is this great guy named Rick. I hope I'll tell him to tune into the podcast and hear that. But they're very much kind of like a mom and pop feeling pet store with locations just in the Charleston area. And there's two of their locations that I'm always kind of in the area. They're relatively close to me. And every time I'm in the area, whether I need something for my dog or not, I still pop in. I go to see like where our stuff is, because they always have some of our harnesses and then some of our like bandanas and leashes. And I think like the sensation the first time and the sensation the last time I did it, it's the same. It will never get old. I will never be amazed to walk in and see my products in somebody's physical retail store. It's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, that is, it's cool.
That's pretty cool, buddy.
It's pretty cool.
It's surreal.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years, you've put together, you've built product, you've sourced it, you've built it, you shipped it, you've got e-commerce going, you've got retail going. It's pretty amazing. And you have a really solid, like, I think you've just got like a really solid charity program, like the way you give back as well. Where do you go from here? Like what's next for you?
I mean, Phil, I kind of want to ask you the same thing. Where do we go? I mean, really,
that's fair. That's
the immediate future is continuing to focus on the things that I think drive our business forward, which is maintaining a really great set of designs, continuing to embrace giving back and customer service as top priorities, which have obviously really they've been the things that have actually carried us for most of like this stage of our business, because product is one thing, but I think especially in an emotional product like a dog product, having good customer service and then knowing that the brand gives back, it really it just really sticks with people. So continuing to focus on that, and then I would say like we're looking potentially always over the next few years to find partners that can, whether it's somebody who acquires a piece of our company or all of it, they can help really make Beast and Buckle the most that it can possibly be. Similar to other brands, like, I know that, and I, again, very much appreciate the compliments that you have paid me tonight, but like, I consider myself very capable, but I can only do so much. And at some point, as we continue growing, and as we continue building more partnerships and donating more and finding more opportunities to, help the various charities that are involved, like, I know that I would be selfish at some point to not bring other people into the fold, to grow Beast and Buckle, because if we really continue making this brand even stronger, we're holding ourselves back and doing anybody involved in the business a disservice if we don't, bring in somebody who's somebody who can really scale this brand up. So I think that's, an obvious point on the agenda. We will be focusing on, more and more retail expansion. I think where we have interest from pretty much any major retailer in some fashion. But I think, the focus for us, and this is what, like, again, what I really like about my business is I think the best fit for us is finding the small regional chains that are run like a series of mom and pops, and connecting with them, and then strengthening those brand relationships. And that can be through either exclusive products, partnering on charitable activities, things like that. So on the retail side, it's going to be growing that way. It's obviously, it can be a bit of a grind, but I think it
matches you though, in fairness too. I'm looking at your site now too, because you got cool shit, right? I mean, it's got neat patterns, neat designs, great colors.
Look at the
hoodies, it's nice.
Man. The hoodies are a great product, and actually an interesting product for retail too. I'm glad you mentioned those, because the hoodies. One of the concerns on, actually, Kenny, you were saying something. I apologize. I want to let you finish your thought.
No, go. I'm doing a fill. I'm just snooping on the page because I'm seriously. I find how you talk very, very interesting, because again, it's not really normal for people who are just starting to really focus on what you did. The give back, your product selection's cool. The way you're talking about retail, like, I do like it, because I think, see, you're a sellable commodity for this company. because I think people, because you're very likable. So I think people would get to like you. And I think matching who you are with your retailers and is going to be critical, because I'm assuming, like, when I see the stuff here, less the color, because you're not that colorful right at this moment, but your stuff's really colorful, but I can see in your smile, like, it sort of feels like you. You know what I mean? It becomes a very different purchase in a very different place. So it's really nice to see that you're thinking of picking your retailers in a similar fashion where they match what you believe and how you want your pet to be treated. I think that's a very cool thing, because most people just run for the money, which is critical. I mean, it's a business. You're not a charity. I get it.
There's some really neat things, like so I'm looking at the hoodies, and like, having been with Target, the Target pop-up format comes to mind right away. So a collab with them, because this would be right up their alley.
100%.
That makes it pop. But then, like, your comment about wanting to stay with smaller retailer regional chains, this one makes me think, like, we're at that time of year, right? Like, we're Canada's just had our Thanksgiving, right? You guys are 6 weeks behind us, but you're into holiday season, really, and you're into Halloween. Like, even to do like a pop-up, like, just you, right? Like, just you. I get not just you, because you're literally
No, but
one
I understand what
person,
you're saying.
but but like a Beast and Buckle pop-up in your hometown.
You would crush it, man.
On you know what I mean? Like, and limited styles. You could bring your hoodies, and like, people would bring dogs. It would be mayhem.
You would crush it.
Fantastic. Like,
we're thinking about doing some stuff here in Charleston. It's a big dog town. There's events and things like that. This is something we are actively thinking about.
Yeah.
Target one is a great idea. I think, we like doing a pop-up with them is something I think we've thought about in the past, and we would never out of hand just dismiss any big retailer. It's just, we really want to make sure that the relationship is right for us.
If we have Target listeners, or we have regional retail listeners, which I'm sure we do.
Yeah.
Beast and Buckle, and then ping us. We'll hook you up with Stuart.
Yeah, but you're totally allowed to not go into some of the larger ones, because you want to make sure whoever you
protect
go
the
with
brand. You
fits.
gotta,
It's got to match you and what you believe and what your sister believes and whoever else is with you. I mean, this is probably why it's more intriguing to actually listen to you, is because unless you're a great bullshitter, which I don't think you are, everything what you're saying about it matches what you're doing, which is really impressive to see. And it's really nice to see that. I mean, you got a neat thing going here. It's
what are you
going to say? And if you're making money and you've thought it through, good on you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I can tell you that we are authentic. We are walking the walk, talking when we talk the talk.
That's fantastic.
And that's, I think it's another differentiator for us, because you touched on something earlier that kind of bothered me. Not that you said, but something that bothered me in the industry, that we set about from the very beginning of our brand to make sure that we never, ever kind of like came across this way, which is like, obviously, like, kind of the whole CSR, conscious capitalism thing that's kind of come about over the last 5 years or so. In my opinion, has been executed by many brands very, very poorly. And it is, I mean, in many cases, it's just obviously self-serving.
100%.
And we want to make sure that people know, transparency is a big thing for us. We want people to know exactly what we are doing. So when we say we donate a portion of every sale, we tell you 5% of your sale is going to charity. That's not some mixture on like profit or something like that. We started doing that from the beginning, but we realized quickly that we needed to change and make it. We're just going to say, you were getting 5% of that sale. That is going right to a charity that helps animals directly. We're not going to, a lot of the brands, especially in the pet space, are like, oh yeah, we donate a portion of sales, or we donate a portion of our profits, or, we give back. But it doesn't actually, they don't actually tell people what they're doing. And I can tell you that I know that there's a lot of brands that try and push this narrative that don't actually do very much. And for us, like, I'm somebody who, I've been very fortunate to have success in my career, but like, I'm, somebody, I have, a nice home here in South Carolina with a beautiful, wonderful wife. And of course, one wonderful dog. And like, I don't really need a whole lot. So for me, one of the advantages we have is like, I don't need to make a ton of money to achieve what I want to achieve here. I just need to, like, for me, it's about, being able to say, yeah, we gave, X amount of dollars to the Nala Foundation, which is this great charity that helps pay medical bills when people rescue dogs. Or, we donated, the big impact that we have beyond just the cash donations is like, basically, if any harness gets returned to us, which is, fairly common, dogs have to try them on, people need a new size. We don't resell those. Those are all donated. So 99% of the harnesses that come through returned because, the dogs try them on once. They say, okay, I got a large, I need an extra large. Or, hey, I got a small, I need an extra small. We donate all of them. And so, there are more dogs that need to be rescued and adopted than anybody would ever imagine there were. And all of these dogs need homes, and all of these rescues, like, they struggle for everything, not just funding, but like, funding to continue to operate so that they can actually, like, house dogs in a place that is safe and sanitary. They struggle for everything. And so, like, all these dogs they need leashes, they need collars, they need harnesses. They need everything from, rolls of poop bags to, like, basic veterinary supplies. They need everything. And so for me, like, I get a great sense of satisfaction, selfishly, knowing that, like, all of our used inventory can serve a purpose. Potentially, I mean, for me, in some cases, it's even better than when we sell it. It's like, this is going to help a dog that truly, truly needs it. It's an amazing thing. And so, like, we're packing up, I think the retail value of what we've donated so far it's approaching $50,000.
Good for you.
So obviously raw costs, it's less. The retail
Doesn't
value,
matter. Good for you.
and then we're packing up probably another 40 to 50 over the next couple of months as well.
Good for you.
So we'll be close to 100K, and that for me, that's the financial number that really matters to me. Obviously, when we have conversations with people about it's time to sell a piece of the company or all of it, we'll have to talk about boring things like profit and loss and
yeah, but that's like business. That's part of it.
Yeah.
But what's nice about the business today, or what the business you're running, is that's important, because that keeps the lights on. I mean, you're not a charity, you're not a church, right? You got to make some money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's good. It's nice to hear how you talk about it. You're very customer service focused. Many aren't.
Yeah,
you talk properly about the back end. Many talk, but they don't do.
Yeah,
right? You're thinking about the retailers you're choosing. Most don't. I'm telling you emphatically, the reality is most do it. You do very differently. Most of our small businesses should probably listen to your podcast, podcast, and understand, if you're going to say things, do them. And focus on the important things, your customers, which is your pets as well as the pet owners. Like, focus. Good for you.
So one of the things that people will notice when they go on our website, if you read the copy, especially on the product pages, it's all written to the dogs, because we see the dogs are the customers. They're the ones who are actually wearing our stuff.
Exactly.
And so yes, it's a little cutesy, but at the same time, it's part of our ethos. We're a dog first company. We want people to be buying things that their dogs are going to love wearing. They're going to be safe wearing. And so the concerns and the things that we are focused on the most when it comes to developing and marketing our products is always, is this something that's going to be safe for a dog? Is this something that dogs can like? And so I'm very humbled by the praise. I really appreciate it.
I think I just want to say, like, because I've been around a lot of pet brands, right? And there's a way to be cutesy, like, bleh, and then there's a way to, like, because you don't use any of the, you don't bastardize any words to make it like cheesy. Do you know what I mean? Like, the way your copy is written, it's a straightforward, it's a straightforward description, but it is from the viewpoint of the dog, right? Built for
which
comfort.
It should be, because that's who's wearing it. The dog's not comfortable.
I ain't wearing the harness. The dog is wearing
exactly.
The harness,
the dog is.
But I like that, and I think that's different, because I have definitely. You've been to Super Zoo, right? So like, there are a lot of, like, there's a lot of brands that don't actually speak English. They speak this weird.
Well, they speak this dog language, which is
cheesy
bullshit.
dog language,
Or they don't
that isn't
walk.
really.
Yeah, it's different.
Like, oh god, like, you know. So I like it. It's refreshing.
I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
I think like in this, this will help answer that first question that you had, Kenny, about like why I did this. Is like I wanted to make sure when I did a brand that if I was, personally talking to somebody about it, whether it's somebody who's potentially buying the product as a retailer, as a customer, or somebody who I'm just trying to convince to partner up with us on something.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that it wasn't something where when they were talking to me about it, they're like, this guy he's a good salesman.
Yeah.
Like, it comes off as a salesperson.
Right.
The first thing you'll notice at Super Zoo is like it's a pet industry event. It is an event for an industry centered around one of the most emotional parts of people's lives, which is their relationship with their pets. And you'd be amazed at how many people there. Yes, people have to make money. They have to generate an income. They have to keep the lights on. They have to keep food in their bellies. But there are people who it's purely transactional. And for me, it never will be. It really is my life's work.
It seems pretty clear.
Yeah.
It feels it.
Love it. I love it.
It's just, I love my dog more than anything. And I think,
Careful, the wife might be in hearing shot.
You almost said wife there.
Just be careful. I don't know how good those windows are on that door, but be careful.
I want to be clear. He did not say that.
He didn't say it.
So my wife, she knows the drill. She's been around for the entire relationship. She knows the drill. I love my wife. She's wonderful. Like the man's best friend, there's just this strong, but they're equal. I think
it's okay. I can totally see it, man. You speak the truth. It's funny. It's awesome.
But my dog, I don't know if you had a chance to see the video that we have on our website about our story and how we started the brand, like from a emotional standpoint. My dog, he literally saved my life. And dogs, I think people are starting to just realize in society how important pets are. Yeah. Because for a long time, obviously people have things like bereavement leave at work. If they have like a parent die or somebody in their immediate family, they can take time off. But historically, that has never been granted, or even people even didn't even look at the death of a pet as something that even merited any attention. And now I think most people look at that notion and think that's ridiculous. They understand how important the relationship with pets are, because the relationship with the pet is. And the way I explain it to people is yes, having a family member, especially a close family member, it's devastating. I know personally, my dad died very tragically. And that's why my dog saved my life, is I was going through a very difficult time. But my dog, he relies on me for everything. He's there for me every day. They love you unconditionally. Right. They love you no matter what. Oftentimes, especially when people are going through, dark periods, their pets are the only ones that are there for them. Right. And, no matter what is going on in your life, the dog will only give you love.
Yeah.
And that is
non-judgmental, right? It's just there.
It's not true of any human. And so the relationships that you form when you have this unconditional love, and you have something that literally depends on you for everything, for food, for going out to use the bathroom, like that relationship, when that goes, when that goes away, that in and of itself is tragic enough and is enough to cause somebody, serious emotional pain. But then you combine that with society's attitude where people don't feel the need to offer support to that person the way they would if a family member died. And all of a sudden you have a situation where people are really deeply hurt, but can't find the emotional support around them. Right. And so I think, one of the things that you'll see us focus on more in 2022 as well is we're going to do some more stuff around mental health, so raising money for mental health causes, things, we're going to try and tie it to the pet industry as well. Mental health is obviously, it's a big thing. My father committed suicide. I've struggled with depression my entire life. And so we want to do more things around mental health. It's a very sensitive issue, which is why we haven't done something about it yet. Based on what I said before, wanting to be wanting to go about the notion of giving back and participating in charitable causes the right way and not in a self-serving way. This is one that I really want to make sure that we do right. Because if we don't do it right, I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Right.
So you'll see us do more. I think what we're going to try and do is something around, mental health for veterinarians. Most people in the pet industry don't even know that veterinarians, they have the highest suicide rate of any profession.
Really?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
It's one of the highest, if not the highest. I'm pretty sure it's the highest because they deal with, think about the emotional pain that you go through dealing with the death of a pet, and then imagine having to deal with that multiple times a day. And so we just, I'm getting off on tangents unrelated to the topic at hand now, but it's just like, you can tell.
No, but it also gives an idea of who you are and why you do what you do,
Mhm.
right? That's the stuff that Phil and I like anyway. To make you feel a little bit better potentially is that, and I don't know if it's in the States, but definitely in Canada, because our social network's different up here than it is in the States. We're just different countries. I know it's an imaginary line, but we are very different how we do things. They are starting to look at writing into employment standards legislation where there is bereavement for pet. So if a pet passes, you will get potentially 2 or 3 days of bereavement, no different than a human losing a human. That's being built into some legislation in the country now.
Yeah, it's something that you're seeing a lot more at companies now in the United States. It's driven more on the private sector side, obviously, in the U.S.
We're going to be legislated to some degree at an employment standards level, government wise, because I think they're realizing there's a play for it. The animals are part of the home. They're part of the family.
I've been really glad to see it become more of a thing here in the U.S. among a lot of companies.
That's good.
It's kind of followed the trend of having more like dog friendly offices and things like that. Obviously that's been a little bit disrupted during the pandemic, but we've always been a country that absolutely loves their dogs, and it's nice to be able to see basically all aspects of life embrace dogs. There's just my position at this point on dogs.
Yeah, they're great.
I think we're pretty clear.
I love it.
There's just nothing better. What's better than a dog? There's nothing better than a dog. They're the most wonderful things in life. My dog and I, he simultaneously drives me nuts and makes me feel like the luckiest person on earth every single day.
Dog. He's an idiot and an amazing all at the same time.
My dog's a French bulldog, which means he doesn't listen to a thing I say. So I have to,
He's like a child.
Oh yeah, it's like having a 2-year-old child
perpetually
for years, perpetually. Yeah. But I love every moment of it. He's just because all he wants is to spend time with me and my wife. The littlest things that we would overlook as just basic are the best things in the world to him. And so, dogs are just, I could talk all day. I could talk your ears off. I love dogs.
No, you're a pleasure to talk to. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to you. You're fun to talk to.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. This is where do people find you? What's the best places to find you?
We are, if you're looking direct to consumer or for informational wholesale, you can find us at beastandbuckle.com. We're available wholesale on a few marketplaces. So we're on Shopify's wholesale marketplace, Handshake. We're on Tundra. We also have our own kind of self-serve wholesale portal that people can reach out to us to get access to. But if there are any retailers listening and they want to talk to me, I'm very flattered, very humbled. And, you can email me at stu@beastandbuckle.com. I'd be glad to talk to you. I answer calls all day. So you can call me anytime, day or night. Our company line forwards literally to my cell phone.
Cool. And are you online? Are you on online? Are you on, what do you call it? LinkedIn or anything like that?
Yes. You can find me Stuart Anderson on LinkedIn, and I'll be listed as the founder of Beast and Buckle.
That doesn't look like you.
I've gained a little weight and my hair's a little longer.
I wasn't going down those paths. It doesn't look like you. That's good. Okay, we fixed that too. We'll connect with you on that side. That's good. You're a lot of fun, buddy. Like seriously.
Yeah.
We don't have to say that to people whether they're on the show or not. I enjoy talking to you. You're a really nice guy, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate
You're doing some cool stuff. So good on you.
Thank you. I can't tell you how much that means to me. I really appreciate that.
No, it's very cool.
And thank you for having me on the show as well.
You're welcome. We
very
very
much
honestly, we enjoyed it.
Yeah, totally.
We enjoyed it. Yeah. Thanks,
That's cool.
Thank you. Have a wonderful
Okay.
night, guys.
Thanks,
Okay, have a
man.
great
Take care
night.
of yourself. Thanks for doing so late
Thanks.
too.
Yeah.
Phil,
of course.
stay on for a minute.
Yeah, you got it.
Awesome.
Okay. Bye, Stuart.
Bye.
Cool.
That's a nice guy.
Right? He's a nice guy.
Like seriously,
Yeah.
you know what? Honestly, you know what is? It's nice to hear because it doesn't happen often. I mean, it does happen, so I'm not going to take away from it, but it doesn't happen often where a true business person like means what he says what he means. The business follows his or her personality. Like I like that.
Yeah. No, I'm
Still don't understand it. I still don't know how you. I don't care if you're an ad exec or
honestly,
not.
he's so put together.
Yeah, I don't know.
together.
I mean, seriously, if I know people 30, 40 years in the business aren't put together like that,
Yeah,
I don't
no,
understand
not
the
like
guy.
that. Yeah.
I kept going back to it, but I'm thinking, buddy,
Yeah.
you're talking like you've been doing CPG for 50 years.
It actually I thought that moving you along would make it better, but it actually made it worse, right?
Made it
Because
worse.
You go, okay, so 2.5 years, he's everywhere, right? Like,
But I don't understand that.
and I thought I gotta get Kenny off this, so I'm gonna ask him about the e-com part of his business. We'll figure that part out, and then but then it just got worse because then it was like, wait, what do you mean? Like, so you're everywhere. You sell e-com. You do a very healthy e-com business.
But
you
that's what
actually
he
do
kept saying. That, and then he
charity,
said all over his bricks and mortar. I'm thinking, so you're not just all
Yeah,
e-com, you
no,
bullshitter.
you're
You do a
not.
lot of stuff.
Yeah,
You're
you
like
do a
all
lot of
over the
stuff.
place.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
the pop-up because can you imagine if him because I'm sure whoever would work for him, he would pick and be very similar. A pop-up with people like that, people buy whatever they told them to.
Yeah. So I honestly, like, I think if we have folks in the audience listening, one, if somebody can help him with the retail portion of his business,
That'd be huge.
I think Stu would love to talk to you. He and I talked a couple of times, and I tried to find him a match. It didn't really, they just didn't have the same interests. You know what I mean? So I think helping him, and then honestly, if you're a retailer that wants to work with him, I mean, you heard him on the show.
Come on, just listen to the podcast. I mean, shit,
Yeah,
that guy's that guy's solid.
He's all there. You'll get
He's
a
solid.
great partner. So yeah. Anyway,
Cool, very cool.
cool.
Like,
Right?
seriously, that was very cool.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
people like that. Love stories like that.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Thank you for
Okie
listening.
dokie. Thanks everybody for joining us, Mark Sterling especially, and we will chat soon. Have a nice evening, folks.